Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Professional Nomad Podcast, where the world is our home and the mic is our compass. I'm thrilled to be your host and guide on this journey through the diverse landscape of life. Now, many people believe this is just a podcast for digital nomads, but it's not. It's a space for everyone seeking inspiration, knowledge, and a dash of wanderlust. On this podcast, we'll dive into a myriad of topics, from navigating the international visa maze to mastering personal finance, sprinkled with generous doses of self-improvement, wisdom, and much more. Why? Because life's an adventure, and we're here to explore it together. You might be wondering who's steering this ship. Well, I'm not your typical host. My background is a mosaic of healthcare, management, IT, and even a touch of music production. So whether you're a seasoned professional with a nomadic mindset, a desk-bound dreamer, or just someone eager to learn, buckle up. Because we're about to embark on a journey that transcends boundaries and embraces the richness of human experience. Welcome to the Professional Nomad Podcast, where every episode is a passport to new perspectives.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Professional Nomad Podcast. Once again, I am your humble host, Stefano, and I'm excited to be here, and I hope you are too. Today, we got a great interview for everybody, so I hope everyone who's tuning in is paying attention. While you're here, make sure you hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you'll know when we are going live. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure you leave a comment so I can read these. I read all comments. Also, if you would like to see particular types of topics covered on this channel, let me know in the comment section below. I had a long week this week. I had a wreck my car. Now I have to go through the long process of going back and forth with the insurance companies about whose fault it was. Got to worry about them lowballing me on the estimates. Worry about what body shop I got to take my car to. Number of things. I also had to do a lot of meetings with my team this week because the holiday is next week, so it's a short week. Everybody's going to be taking off, including myself. So I had a very crazy week. So I think this would be the perfect time for me to be able to relax and just talk to you guys about what's going on out here. I got my guest sitting in the back, and I'm going to bring him up in a second. I wanted to talk to everybody about a couple of things, though, beforehand. So let me see if we got anybody here yet. It doesn't look like it. All right. So one of the things that we're going to cover on this channel is finance. Now, I'm not a financial expert, but one of the things that's important to learn about is crypto. And understanding the crypto market is very important. I understand a lot of people think that crypto is a scam, but I reassure you that it's not. Crypto is a real thing. And right now, we're in the middle of the greatest wealth conversion in history, and no one really knows about it. So I implore everyone to just take time out and research what's going on. I want to share my screen, and I want to present to you some of the top 5 cryptos that's out here in the world right now. So we got Bitcoin sitting at around 36,000. It recently just rose. It's got a market cap around 710 billion. Ethereum is the second most popular crypto going on right now. It's almost around $2,000. It's going to be around, it's got a market cap around 236 billion. We got Tether. Their market cap is around 87 billion. BNB, they're around 37 billion. One of my personal favorites is XRP. XRP is a very, very popular crypto right now because they're using this for cross-border settlements. And if you know about that, think about how long it takes for you to send money to a loved one overseas. It's quicker to fly it there than it is for you to just take and send it through conventional means. And with the XRP, we can then convert that within 3 seconds at a time. We can even do that with bill pay. Notice in the United States with bill pay, if I pay my bill on a Friday, it might not come out of my account till Monday or Tuesday. But with cryptos like XRP, that all changes. Now, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Now you have to remember, this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. It's just my personal opinion on a couple of things. But I think everybody should break down and do their research and go ahead and learn about the financial technology that's going on, aka fintech. There's a lot of fintechs going on, a lot of fintech companies that are going on right now. And the sooner you learn about these things, the better you'll be. Now, without further ado, I'm going to bring up my guest so we can talk about the top 5 reasons why you need an international attorney. I want to welcome to the stage, Cesar. How you doing, Cesar?
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good. How are you?
All right, perfect. No, thank you for inviting me. It's
I
a
like
pleasure
that
to be
logo.
here. Yeah, that's we're trying to be very professional and have our established logo and everything.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for inviting me. It's quite a pleasure. It's a topic that a lot of people have been asking about, and we're here to assist. We're giving you legal guidance. I'm an attorney here in Colombia. I'm a licensed attorney, expat. I arrived to Colombia 20 years ago, approximately, and I lived in the States many years. I lived in the States about 22 years. And now I'm here in Colombia, a licensed attorney, helping expats and clearing the air about a lot of confusing topics.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them that are confusing. There's no better way than to talk to an attorney to get a lot of things that are up in the air. So what made you make the transition to Colombia originally, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, not at all. It was, I was at a crossing roads in my life. I was working at Merit International for many years, but I needed a change, like a lot of expats, where they just come to a crossroads and decide to make a change in their life. And my father was ill at the time. He was here in Colombia, and I just decided to leave everything, just come and take care of my father in his last years. I came to Colombia, and my father asked me, the first thing he asked me is, "What are you going to do here?" So my dream was always to be an attorney. I worked in hospitality for many years, which was a great school because it helps me today with the service that I give to my clients. And I went into law school with my very basic Spanish. And it took me 5 years to get, because it's 5 years of law school here in Colombia. And it was a challenge. It was very hard because I was raised in the States. I didn't understand the culture at first. There was a lot of aspects that were confusing to me. But finally everything worked out. I graduated from law school. I went to work for different law firms here in Colombia. A great experience. And then one day, a fellow expat, we started seeing a growth in a lot of people coming over from the States, and he said, Caesar, you should venture into creating your own law firm and helping expats, and that's what we're doing now.
Hmm. That's good. That's a good thing, man. And I appreciate you. I want to make sure that I mention that not only you're a great attorney, but you are also my attorney as well. And I got great faith in you and all of your abilities. So, if anybody's watching this on the replay and you need legal advice, Caesar's information is in my community tab. So it's also a poll in the community tab as well. So you can go through there and take a couple of the polls. It helps with understanding what kind of content that needs to be talked about on this channel. But also the very first thing that I posted in the community tab was Caesar's information, asking if you need legal advice, contact Caesar Castro. All right. So let's talk about some of these topics that we got, right? So I think the top 5 reasons someone needs an international attorney is important, because if you are starting out somewhere, or you want to go somewhere, let's say, for instance, you want to go somewhere and you want to start over, kind of like what you just said, right? You want to start over, you want to make a new beginning. What do? Where do you go? Who do you talk to? And you need to know the basics about everything. And I think one of the most important things you can do is consult with an attorney, because if you're going to stay in the country for a long period of time, then you're going to need a visa, right? So one of the first things that I think is very important are visa applications. Why do you think that someone should always consult with an attorney about visa applications, especially, say, per se, in Colombia?
Yeah, I think it's very important to have legal advice through the whole process. I just want to be very transparent. A lot of people ask me, Caesar, is it possible to do it myself? And I'm always very transparent. I say, yes, anybody can submit a visa application. What's the important thing about having an attorney? The thing is that what people don't understand is that the Colombian government kind of mirrors the legal situation of Colombia, and they expect that other countries kind of comply the same way in regards to documentation and everything. If you don't understand the law, then you get a little bit lost, and you may make a mistake and have to start all over and spend more money. And also, additionally, there's something that's called, you upload the basic information, and but the government has the right to do something that's called a requerimiento. A requerimiento is a request for more information. In that part, they only write it in Spanish, so a lot of people get confused and don't understand what the Colombian government's requesting. So we understand the law, so we basically let our client know, look, this is what the Colombian government is requesting. We're going to answer back in your name with all the legal jargon that's required to answer back to the Colombian government. Because there's a lot of instances where the Colombian government makes mistakes. It's normal, it happens, and they request something that's not in the law. So since we understand the law completely, for example, it happened recently with a client of ours with a retirement visa. They requested that she have some documents, apostilled and translated, and we kind of argued and let the government know, look, this is something that is already established. We already complied with what the law indicates. We kind of made our case and won. Fortunately, the Colombian government, after the request, or after the legal action that we sent in, they obliged and said, okay, perfect, the visa approved. These are technical things that are difficult. If you don't know how to maneuver them, if you don't know how to manage them, you may be spending more money than you should. So for a low fee, you're taking all that work and you're passing it on to us. We make sure that you just relax. We'll take care of all the hard work, all the legwork. You only have to be ready to receive your visa when it's approved. That's it. We also help with expediting the ID card, or cédula extranjería.
Yeah.
So we set up the form, we fill it out, We set up the appointment. We do everything. So all you have to do is just be ready. So when you to get your documents, and that's it. Um, like I said, it's a learning curve that if you have the time to dedicate a whole day or week to the process, then I've never tried to misguide people and tell them, look, you can't do it. You can do it, but it's something that's very tedious. It's the learning curve is hard, and if you don't understand the immigration resolution that basically changed last year. So whoever was trying basing their knowledge from the previous immigration resolution, you're going to fall into a difficult situation with these new changes. And something that I always tell people is like the law's always changing. So maybe you think that you're doing things correctly, but there
Mm-hmm.
was a change that happened, for example, yesterday that you didn't know about. So maybe it was something that's going to benefit you, something that may hurt you because you're sending in the wrong information.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always best to have legal guidance so that you don't run into these issues and spend more money than you should.
Right, right. Just like the changes in laws, like how else would you learn about the law changing if you didn't have an attorney to update you on it? Like I know a lot of
Correct.
people like to go around and gain citizenship by investment, but the the method to do that in Colombia changed here recently. Um, I think it's best to just consult at first instead of. I mean, I don't knock anybody trying to do it themselves, or I don't knock anybody trying to go outside of the box, trying to get somebody to do it for them that might have a little experience. But for me, myself, just speaking for myself, right? I think it's better to just go the legal route because I want to make sure that if something does come up, I got somebody that can fight for me in the right way.
That's correct.
Um, so let's talk about foreign company creation. So, how can an international attorney help with foreign company creation?
Well, company creation is something that's growing a lot right now, especially here in Colombia. Colombia is a great country. It's blooming. There's a lot of investment opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities for growth. Cost of living is great. I mean, a lot of people from the states are coming over because, of course, they're already seeing the impact of the things, how the economy is a little bit complicated and things are getting more expensive. So even big companies, they're looking towards Colombia. I recently got contacted by a company that wanted to create studios here in Medellin, and because of cost, labor cost, everything. So creating a company in Colombia is very fortunately it changed because many years ago it was very complex. It would take like 2 or 3 months to create. Now everything's, we could have it done within 2 weeks. And the benefit of doing that is, having presence in a country. You can contract with locals, you can contract workers at a very good cost of salaries. And there's a lot of benefits to having a creating company in Colombia. Just having that presence where if you have an LLC in the States, for example, commercially, it looks very good if you have presence. You kind of become a multinational company, having presence in Colombia. And Colombia is a country that has a lot of, offers a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of people creating small coffee shops, creating, little small Airbnb, bed and breakfast or for example, co-working for people in Medellin. Medellin is growing tremendously. I mean, so many expats are moving over to Medellin. Creating different opportunities and also helping the community, helping people grow in Colombia because it's a win-win for everyone. There's great investment opportunities where if you come over, you bring these different opportunities and also help the community, help the locals, with offering job opportunities. And the government recognizes that. The government is very pro labor conditions. So if you offer opportunities to workers, Colombian nationals, it gives you a lot of tax benefits, and it's very very important for the country as well. But as an investor, there's a lot of growth. Like I mentioned, I was recently down in Medellin, and I was amazed by how many opportunities that how the growth of all these the community, the expat community. I met with a group that's called Medellin Group, and we talked, and I just wanted to hear their experience of living in Medellin, and
Mhm.
also Bogota, where I'm located at. You hear in Bogota, there's a growth in the community of expats. But going back to the opportunities, you can start a hotel, a small little boutique hotel. You can create co-working spaces for all the digital nomads that are coming over to Colombia, which is growing tremendously because this new resolution that was took effect in October of last year made just had this boom of people just coming over because you can work from the US and have a contract with a U.S. company, but work remotely. It's and the requirements are not that complicated to comply with, and you have our help. We have the experience. We've been working more than 200 digital nomad visas approved,
Yeah.
and we've helped people obtain these type of visas so they can come over, work remotely, and at the same time, if you want to create your own company, it's not that expensive. You create your company. You can make, like I mentioned, you could create your own coffee shop, which is something very popular right now, and or co-working spaces, small boutique hotels. I mean,
Mhm.
the list is could go on and on.
It's
So it's a
endless.
great moment.
It's endless. And that kind of ties into the next topic that I want to discuss because, I mean, talking to the local people and understanding what's going on in the communities, understanding how to help the communities is very important because as an expat moving to other countries, you want to invest in the community the best way you can, because you're creating jobs. If you create a company, you will be creating jobs. So you will have to interact with your employees on a day-to-day basis. That means understanding the local cultures, but understanding also the local legal expertise, which is something that I think would be beneficial from an international attorney as well, because they can guide you in the right directions.
Yeah, it's very important to have, and the benefit that people would have with us is that I'm an expat, and I've been in both worlds. I was an
Hmm.
expat. I went through the whole struggle of trying to understand, what the do's and don'ts of when you come over to Colombia, because Colombia is a great country. It's beautiful. The people are amazing. You just have to know how to navigate,
Right.
and having the proper legal guidance helps that to not make mistakes. I'm recently helping a person that's purchasing a farm near Bogota, and we're doing all the due diligence to make sure that this person is protected. That okay, you're going to make a big investment, but make sure that we do the review of the titles,
Hmm.
the deed, everything, just to make sure that because you have to come to Colombia. There's a lot of opportunity, but if you don't, like anything, if you don't have the proper guidance, then you're going to make mistakes. With us, you have a person that's lived both worlds. I've been in the States. I understand the culture, and I understand the Colombian culture. So it's a benefit because we can speak in the same language. I can explain things that are complicated but make them easy to understand. And that's the positive note of having our services, that we can properly guide you and just help you navigate through this complex, bureaucratic sometimes, situations that can be overwhelming. And we've been through it. We have the experience. We've created many companies. We've helped with many legal situations. So we kind of just break down and make it easier to understand.
Yeah. I really, really believe in that, especially when it comes to purchasing properties, because you want to make sure you have full legal clarity in something like it, especially in another country, because it's hard. It's not like, say, the United States here, where you could just say, okay, well, that house is for sale or this apartment building is for sale. Let me talk to the realtor and just buy it. It's a whole different level of things that you have to go through to purchase this property in Colombia or Venezuela or wherever you may be. So the easiest thing to do would be to consult with an attorney internationally and talk to them about it and let them do the research. It's not like you can just kick back and sit back and do nothing yourself either, but it's like having an army fight for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's something. It's people feel very secure when they have our help because they feel like they have someone that's going to protect them from any situation that might become a problem in the future, litigation, different factors, loss of money, and it's important to always have proper guidance in anything. For example, us, we need a good accountant to
Hmm.
manage our books, to make sure we're compliant with all the Colombian taxes, and make sure that we're not doing anything illegal that may hurt us in the future, because the entities here in Colombia are very strict in comparison to many countries. I've have clients from Costa Rica, and they're like, wow, it's like Costa Rica a little bit more relaxed on certain topics. Here in Colombia, the entities are very, very well regulated, and they they're very vigilant. So if you're not paying your taxes correctly, if you don't establish a company the proper way, if you don't request a visa the proper way, then you can get in trouble. So what we do is mitigate all those situations so that you feel comfortable and secure on taking these next steps and not feel like you're going to run into any situation in the future.
All right, right. And as far as situation goes, I think it's good, like we just discussed, when it comes down to contractual agreements, right? Because whether you're purchasing properties or anything else, you want to make sure you have clear legal standing and understanding, basically, clear legal understanding of what's going on. And who better to help you read over contracts internationally, especially if they're in a foreign language. I mean, don't get me wrong. I speak Spanish, I read Spanish. I'm not fluent, but I'm pretty sure that if I was to do something in Colombia per se, right? The Spanish is a little different in how I learn. So I'm still converting over, if that makes sense. Some words I learned, it was the way I learned Spanish was from my friends from Central America. Totally different type of Spanish, right? So now the Spanish that I'm getting accustomed to now is the Spanish from Colombia per se. And Colombian Spanish, if you ask me, in my opinion, is more closer to Spanish in Spain, right? So
Definitely.
more textbook than slang. So it's like, okay,
Right.
oh, this means that. Oh, okay. So immediately you're lost. You're like, okay, yeah, who can I talk to about this, right? An attorney. And I mean, in your opinion, how do you think they can help with contractual agreements internationally?
Well, you made a great point. I mean, Colombia is a very, you know, it's a very diverse country because in comparison to other countries, there's many regions. So you have, if you live in Medellin, Medellin has a different accent. If you go to the Cartagena, the coast, they
Hmm.
have a different accent in Cartagena. Bogota, the saying is called the Athens of Latin America because of the culture,
Hmm.
because of the different universities. Culture is very exquisite, and the Spanish is one of the best in South America and Central America. So yeah, I mean, you get confused because Spanish here in Colombia is diverse. I mean, you have Spanish from Bogota, you have Spanish from Medellin, from Cali, from Cartagena. So it's very difficult to kind of understand the slang. So it's very important that you have also legal guidance in regard to contractual obligations.
Hmm.
And expats all the time contact us about a lease agreement, a purchase agreement. The good thing is that we manage both legal jargon or legal lexicon
Mm-hmm.
in regard to, we understand what's an LLC from the states. We know what a service agreement is from the
Mm-hmm.
states, and we know very well the legal terms in Colombia. So it's very easy for us to explain things in a language that is understandable. For example, we can say, look, an LLC is very similar to a SAS here in Colombia, which is a type of company. And in regards to the contracts, it's very important that you understand what you're signing. Expats contact us all of the time about lease agreements because for a foreigner, is very different. The people here have to establish a different type of contract because normally here in Colombia, you have to have a co-signer, you have to have a policy. I mean, it's very hard to lease an apartment to a foreigner because they have to. You have to understand also the context of Colombia is that this person is coming over with a passport or a visa, and they can leave at any time and just leave me with this
Right.
apartment, and I'm
Right.
stuck with the payments, and I have no way of getting protection. So it's something that they'll draft up a very particular type of contract, but you have to have the proper legal guidance to make sure that okay, the clauses are not abusive.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes they become abusive. I had a client recently that they were asking like the whole year of the contract in advance. And I said, no, they can't do that. That's abusive. I mean, you can agree to maybe a 3 or 4 months in advance because you don't have a co-signer or you don't have a policy. But there's ways of negotiating, and that's where we come in. And we'll even talk with the landlord and tell them, look, this is the way we should, this is what the law indicates, even though this person is a foreigner, but you can't be abusive. And we'll also explain the contract to the client and say, look, so you understand you have to give notification of at least 3 months before you want to leave or before you want to end the contract. If you don't, notify within this time period, a written notification, send in by mail. All these little details are important because if you don't do it the proper way, then the landlord can easily say, "Oh, this person didn't notify me the proper way. This contract is going to renew for an additional year." When
Mm-hmm.
maybe you were thinking of finishing the contract that same year and saying, "Look, I don't want to continue because I'm leaving to the States. I found a different apartment." So all these different aspects are important to know, and that's where we help and help our clients understand. Okay, this is what you have to consider. That's very different from the States.
Yeah.
There's different aspects that you have to. Some parts are similar, but the clauses are very different. The penalties are different. So this is what we help with. And regard, for example, with a purchase agreement, we also help with this. We do the proper due diligence, and if a client says, "Look, I found an apartment and I want to purchase it," okay, you have to understand that here in Colombia it's very different. There's something that's called it's kind of a letter of intent or una promesa de compraventa, which is kind of it's a contract where you're saying, "Look, I'm promising that I'm going to buy this property." It's kind of a letter of intent in a certain way, and where you establish the payments, and then after you sign this document at the notary, which we draft up and we help you understand, then you go to the notary on a certain date, and then you have to register all the documentation information for the deed. So it's a different process. So that's where we come in and kind of explain everything. We guide you. You can also give us a power of attorney so that we can go and take care of many of the issues. And and all these things are very important. We also help clients with marriages. For example, if they marry a Colombian national, which is very common here, we can help you with the marriage and kind of explain the way marriages work in Colombia. Here in Colombia, there's something similar to a prenup. It's called capitulaciones.
Mm.
So we can explain how that works and also take care of the marriage so that you know what you're getting into and explain how it works in Colombia. So all these different factors are contractual obligations, contractual agreements
Yeah.
that if you don't understand them and if you don't do the proper due diligence or have somebody explain it to you in layman's terms, then it could be overwhelming, and that's where we jump in and help out.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing. That was a very, very thorough explanation. And I really, really, really am glad that I was able to have you on to break all that down. Once again, if anybody needs legal representation, I highly recommend Say So. What are the means they can contact you, Caesar?
Well, you can contact us through Instagram, CS Law Group, at
Mhm.
CS Law Group. You can contact us there. We're always throwing out free information, what types of contracts. If you're looking for an accountant, what you should consider. If you're looking for an attorney, what you should consider. All this free information, and also promoting different webinars where we give more information. You can also contact through our website, which is www.cs/lawgroup.com, and you can find us there. You can find different information related to the visas, to the services that we provide. And I'll also share with you guys my WhatsApp number, which is 300 375 3032. You have to put the country code, which is the Colombian country code, which is plus 57 in the beginning. And you can contact us through WhatsApp and social media. We're always very present in social media: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have everything.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on today.
No,
Really
it's my
appreciate it.
pleasure.
So the
No,
last time go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, the last time I was down there, it was Petronio, right? I lost all of my footage, all of it. I lost everything. I lost my SIM card with my footage on it, man. I lost
I'm
it was
sorry.
one of my my filters for my camera. I left it all in the Airbnb.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
I didn't realize till I got home, and I was like, it was like, it's always next year.
It always happens, man. Luckily, I was in Medellin recently, and if it weren't for the cleaning lady, I was like, thank you so much, because I almost left my AirPods, my cell phone. I was like, yeah, I was just leaving the most important, work instruments that I have.
Ever, right? Ever.
And I was like so grateful. I was like, thank you so much. Because it happens when you travel. Sometimes you don't check and you leave things, and that's why before I leave any place, I always do a thorough check. But something always stays.
I thought I did though. I need to get a different carrying case for my camera alone, because I have the DJI Pocket Pro, and it just came with the case, but the filter and some kind of where I stuck the chip inside of the case. And then when I got home after flying all night, I get here and I pull it out and I'm ready to put it in the computer to just look at the footage. I'm like, okay, where's my card? Where's my card? Then I also lost one of my adapters. It's a USB-C adapter that attaches the camera to the iPad or to your iPhone. I'm like, how did I lose all this stuff? Did I have that great a time, or was I just being reckless? Which one was it? I don't even remember.
Oh my God, yeah, it's incredible. Sometimes we carry so many things that nowadays that we have cell phones and laptops, and it's hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah, I gotta just get a different case for it. I'm gonna find one some kind of way. Can't have that happening every time. Only thing that I got was B-roll footage from Chippy Choppy Mall. That's it. So I got that stored.
I'm sorry, my friend. Yeah,
no
it happens.
on YouTube.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it does. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this interview. If you guys need Caesar, reach out to him. His information is in here. And I'm gonna post all of his links in the comment section after the videos went live. So if you're watching this on the replay, you'll be able to see how to contact Caesar, not only in my recommended channel section at the bottom, but you'll also be able to go through the comments and just click a link and go straight to his Instagram, Facebook page, YouTube page, etc. All right, guys, until next time. Later.
Thank you for the invitation.
No problem.